Doesn't seem to serve much purpose. So should have just left it on. There. And it started to sprinkle, so I had to put that plastic tub over it. Now it's dried enough. I've turned it over and get the other side. I made a mistake with my choice of primer color. I should have got the it's like a very dark, almost like deep blood red primer color. That makes it a lot easier to see where you're missing when you're painting. This machine gray over the light gray primer, it's easier for me to miss a spot. So, oh well, live and learn. Hey, so I was looking at this this assembly right here, and of course I see that there's a tapered pin to be driven out right here, which will allow this gear to come off of this shaft, and I can pull this whole shaft out of this assembly, which I'm going to do to make it a lot easier for me to clean this. But I noticed something that I thought was kind of interesting. There's a cup right here that's part of this casting. It's actually cast into the side right here. And the way this works is kind of neat. When this is running, this gear will sling a little bit of oil and that will fall into this cup and collect in this cup, and then run down through an orifice. There's a hole right there, and run down into here to lubricate this end of the shaft as it goes through here. So I just thought that was kind of neat. Wanted to show you that before I take it apart. So now I'm going to try and drive that pin out. Oh, I forgot to turn the camera on, but that pin drove out pretty easily. So now I should be able to slide that gear off. So I don't know how tight of a fit it's going to be on that shaft, and this is all really greasy, so not too bad. Actually, I think I can just pull on it and tap it. There we go. Alright, and that takes care of that. This, the bottom of this, again, you can see that's all grease. Pretty sure that should be oil in that gearbox, but it's all grease in the bottom that I cleaned out already. So this is going to go right in the parts washer. And I guess we'll drop these gears in there too. And this bearing and this cap. And I'll just throw a puller on there since this is going to be stubborn. Yeah. Well, I decided, since the Atlas is just sitting down here collecting dust until I get around to making that bracket, I'd give it a little job to do. So I'm going to chuck this up. Relax, I'm not doing something silly like trying to turn anything on here. I'm just going to use the Atlas to spin this really slowly so I can clean this groove a lot better. Because there's still, even after all the scrubbing with the brush that I did, there's still some gunk down in there. So I figure if I find something that fits in there just right, as it's revolving, running along here, it'll scrape out the gunk. Of course, I'll cover up the ways so that anything that falls off of here won't give me problems later. Now, I know for a fact that I had the chuck key for this when I got got it because it was hanging right in this hook right here on this bench. But at some point it must have got thrown into a bucket with a bunch of other tooling and stuff that I had taken out of there that I haven't even gone through yet. I just went and took a quick look and I couldn't find it. So I was looking everywhere for something to fit this. Lo and behold, it's not 3/8 this square hole. It's whatever this is, which I thought was 3/8, and then I noticed it was smaller. So this is one of those easy drivers. But this one has a square end on it. And wouldn't you know it, it's a perfect fit, so it's kind of neat. Use that on this chuck. Of course, right now all I can do is loosen it. I've got it loose enough now. But to change direction on this easy driver deal, you gotta pull, there we go, pull this out from that end, put it in the other end. Oh, look at that. That's the end that the socket's supposed to go on. Somebody had this in backwards. I like them apples. Huh. It's weird. Alright, so the idea is I'm just going to grab this end with the 3-jaw. And I probably would have wrapped that with a piece of shim stock material or something. I was really worried about damaging it, but I'm not really going to be putting that much force on this thing. I don't expect this to want to slip in the chuck, and that's not a fine polish finish on that end anyways. And of course down this end I've installed the live center, so basically just gonna put that in like that. I didn't think I had a wrench hanging around here for that, did I? No. Oh, take this out before I forget it in there. I wonder if this flea market wrench that I picked up fits that. Oh, like a glove. You know what I forgot to do? Forgot to make sure this was in the lowest speed. Don't want to start this thing running at a high speed because I'm not holding it that tightly here. Let's see. I think I can figure this out. Obviously, small gear to larger gear is what we want on the triple pulley, which is what I've got, and then we want the compound drive engaged, which I honestly don't remember if it is or not. That's what happens when you don't mess with this thing for a while. I forget all about how this works. I think that was the slowest speed, right? Yep. Nice and slow. Now we're just going to find the perfect tool to fit in this groove. Battery's dying, so I'll try and do this quick. Well, it's Saturday, June 14th, and day before Father's Day, and this was working out pretty well, and then the camera battery died, and I've been doing too much down here lately anyways, because I had a mishap earlier in the week and hit my leg on the Sipp drill press table. It was on the floor, and that ended up turning into a whole thing, and then anyways, that still hurts. So I'm back to it this morning, and I'm going to finish cleaning this up, and then I'll show you. I ended up putting this pan down so that the stuff wouldn't just roll off of the sheet that I put down here to keep the stuff from getting all over the lathe and everything. But there's quite a bit of garbage that was still in those grooves that I wasn't able to get out with just a brushing the parts washer. Okay, I increased the speed a little bit, and for my final pass I'm going to use this pipe cleaner. I'm avoiding the temptation to wrap it around my finger. You don't want to do that. I guess one final wire brushing won't hurt. I'm laughing because the wire bristles are coming out, so it just went flying. That brush is pretty much toast. That looks nice. Here's a better look at how much stuff came off of that shaft when I was cleaning it. So that should definitely be an improvement as far as the smoothness of the operation of that screw when I'm raising and lowering the table on the drill press.